In this video, I'm going to walk our board on authenticating users in our Android app with Firebase Auth. This is a very powerful and quick way to know who our users are with very little effort and get added features like the ability to reset passwords and the like that you don't have to build from the ground up because we're integrating something that already exists. We'll start with our existing Firebase project, and this is the last video that I'm recording in the series, so I can show you the finished product that we're going to create. Notice in our application, when I click on our specimen collection dropdown, nothing appears because at this point I'm not logged in and it doesn't know who I am. So I can click on login, and this is going to invoke an activity with a callback. It reaches out to Firebase Authentication, which is giving us this screen here. And I can either sign in with email or with Google, and I could add more providers over time if I wish. I'm going to go ahead and sign in with Google. I've previously authenticated with Google on this device, so it's pretty straightforward because it already knows who I am and it does the authentication. Had I chosen login with email, I would have put in my email address and password that I created for this application. One thing we're going to notice, when I click on the drop-down, notice that it now shows 3 different specimens. If we take a look at Firebase, I can click on a single user record, I can go to specimens, and we see these 3 specimens here. But here's where things get interesting. Let me click on a different user. I click on that user's specimens, and we see a different series of specimens. So what we're able to do is create a users collection at the top, then create documents for all of our possible logged in users, and then we can store data for that user under that folder, and then we can go to rules, and we can restrict each one of those folders so only the logged in user can see those specimens that belong to that logged in user's folder or directory structure. So in other words, we're making some private user directories. There's also a tab in authentication where we can see who's currently logged in, and we can create sign-in providers, or in other words, third-party authentication providers. Right now I have email, password, and Google, but we can add numerous other providers, Apple, Facebook, GitHub, Yahoo, Microsoft, so on and so forth, to allow users to log into our application with things that they already know. So how do we need to set this up? Well, first of all, we need to configure the Auth provider and the authentication framework within Firebase console, which is the console that I just showed you. That's fairly straightforward. Now, within our activity class in Android, we need to understand how to call an activity and get a response from it when that activity might be outside of our application. In this case, that activity is going to be Firebase Auth. Then we need to, after we understand that via the spike, we need to actually do the implementation, which is going to require an intent, start for activity result, and a callback lambda in our activity. Next, we need to make a user class that represents the currently logged in user. Then we'll create our user collection in Firestore, which is going to store those users. And then we need to make our authentication rules to ensure that one user can see that user's individual specimens, but that user cannot see other user specimens, and other users cannot see that user's specimens. Then we'll add Google Sign-In as an authentication provider, which is going to require that we generate an SHA-1 debug fingerprint for our application. So these are all of the things that we're going to do. Now, as I mentioned, I'm actually creating this video after I did all of those things. So I opened up a pull request with all of these changes. The pull request is from a branch that contains all of these changes, and that branch is called Firebase Authentication. So I'm going to come down and choose merge and then confirm merge, and as soon as the merge happens, we'll see all of these tasks go to complete. So there's quite a bit we're going to get done in this project by reusing things that already exist and simply making them work within our application. This is a good idea if you need to handle authentication and you want to do it in an easy and proven way. So I hope you find this video helpful, and I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you.